Moving swiftly on to the southern part of Europe, we're going to talk about Portugal. Portugal have taken part in the Eurovision Song Contest 51 times, and it took them years and years and years to win Eurovision. But they have won Eurovision. It happened. Yeah, it wasn't a miracle. It finally came true. Portugal won Eurovision 2017 with Salvador Sobral, with Amar Pelos. I'm going to mispronounce that, haven't I?
Amar Pelos.
Amar Pelos.
There you go. I should just ask the Portuguese to do it. It's so much easier. Go on, do it again, David. David, do it again.
Amar Pelos.
There you go. In proper Portuguese. Let's have a little listen to. So beautiful even now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. It really was. Well-deserved winner. It was great. And loved being in Portugal as well. It was really well hosted. There. Yeah, it was. It was fabulous. So I remember on ESC Fan TV last year, we got quite a bit of hate because we said Conan was not going to qualify. And I'm sorry, Portugal, because you're going to watch this again, I'm sure. And I'm really sorry. But guess what? We were right. You were wrong. Conan failed to qualify. Sorry, David. There you go. Sometimes it's international. So anyway, Conan failed to qualify. But will they fail to qualify again this year, or will Portugal make the final? That's what we want to hear. 2020, Portugal are represented by Elisa with the song Medo De Sentir. Yeah, you can correct my pronunciation shortly, David, which translates as afraid of feeling. Portugal are in the second half of the semi-final two. Elisa is 21. She's born in Madeira. Great place to visit, by the way, if you haven't already been. At one Festival de Canção, she got 10 points from both the jury and the televote. So she didn't get top marks, actually, which is quite interesting, but still managed to find a way through. Should we take a little listen to the Portuguese song this year?
Yes.
Mas agora tenho medo de sentir. Pergunta ao tempo, ele sabe tudo sobre mim. Pergunta ao tempo, ele sabe tudo sobre mim.
There you go, Portugal this year with a really beautiful ballad. Actually, I had one of my favourites when we did the Festival de Canção review. David, I think it's only appropriate that you kick us off, given that you are from Portugal and you were watching all the Festival de Canção shows. So, Portugal, what do you rate of Elisa this year, or is it Elisa? How do you pronounce it?
Elisa.
Elisa. Okay. So, how do you feel about this Portuguese entry?
Yes, of course. She is very young. She's 20. Our songwriter is 21. It's Marta Carvalho, so there's a young partnership here. But yes, it's a very good song. I love both performances, both in the semi and also both in semi and the final, of course. But I think semi was very strong. But yes, it's pretty good. This song kind of reminds me in terms of the staging, kind of remind me of Felipe Azevedo, who represent us in 2010 in Oslo in Norway. Kind of similar staging, kind of similar of the song. A lot of Portuguese fans says this is compared to Jardim because the stage is a songwriter and singer together. Yes, but it's a very good stage. Hopefully we can do the same like 2010 because we qualified in 2010. I think if we give this stage like the same format as we did in 2010, we can qualify and finish in around top 25, top 20, if it's possible.
Okay, let's see if the other panelists feel the same. Jona, what do you make of Portugal's entry this year?
Well, it reminds me a bit of Portuguese entry from 2018. because it's also a young lady accompanied by another singer pianist. So it reminded me of that. And it's not bad, I think, but it for me it's kind of not doing it. It's I'm not gonna say boring because it's not boring, but I love the style of it, and like I love it that they always stay true to their Portuguese language, but it's not doing it for me, and I don't think it will qualify. Unfortunately, it's a nice song. It's like this really cute little song, but it's not doing it for me. I'm sorry.
Let's turn to Tristan, because Tristan is another anorak when it comes to the Portuguese selection. He loves watching Festival de Canção. This wasn't on your list of potential winners, though, Tristan, was it?
No, it was actually my last 8th place out of the 8 finalists. I did think, though, I did always think it would get through to the Portuguese final. I was surprised it won, to be honest. I think the studio version is much better than the live version she did. And the studio version has got this really beautiful string arrangement by the same guy that did the Coldplay string arrangement for Viva la Vida. So it's very beautifully arranged, and she sings it very well in the studio version. I just felt live, it was a bit nasal. It wasn't great, but there again, you know, she's maybe nervous. That she'll be obviously nervous on the stage as well. Which I think it'll probably just scrape through. Well, I don't know. I think it might just actually miss qualifying to the Saturday final, but it may depending on where it is. If it's, let's say, just before Slovenia. Not Slovenia, before Bulgaria, then no chance. But if she's got a good sort of like 23rd, 24th, or rather, sorry, sort of like 12th position or something like that, then she might have a chance. The lyrics are really quite interesting. It's just like a breakup song, but she's willing to take him back. So falas de coração, parece que estou outra vez a ouvir. So if you speak from your heart, then maybe I'll be ready to listen to you again. So it's like it's opposite to Passepartout, which was an also a breakup song, but it was like, don't go anywhere near me, I'm never going to take you back. So it was quite interesting that the two songs were quite different, but this one ended up winning.
Well, I was a big fan of Jimmy P, so I was quite disappointed to see that fail. Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely love it today. Gemma, Portugal, what do you make of Portugal this year?
As surprising as it sounds, I actually quite like this one. So this may be an unpopular opinion, but I actually think this is better than Salvador. I really didn't like that song. But no, this was so I listened to all the songs because I was meant to do the review show way back in January, and this was my favorite back then. So then to finally actually see it on the stage, I really enjoyed it. I think the start is really amazing to watch. You know, when she's singing to the pianist, it's really lovely. But I think they need to carry that through to the end, because at the end she's just singing to herself basically, and it feels like it's missing something. But I mean, I loved her outfit in the final. I would wear that. So you know, I might go to Portugal and just buy it myself. But I think this is the year of the long dramatic pause. I don't know how many songs have got this pause right sort of just in the last 30 seconds where there's this silent little 2 seconds and then it just rebuilds again. Every song has it, and she's got it. So could be a sign.
I think this is an interesting one. And great reference about Salvador. We know where the heat's coming this year. It's coming in Gemma's direction. But I do think there's something quite beautiful about this, that it's such a kind of haunting melody to it that the viewers could really take to it if it's staged correctly. I really think the key to success in this is around the staging. We'll have to wait and see. Oban, Portugal, what do you think of this?
So I'll tell you, the first time I listened to this song, I get into my car on my way to work, and then I went through the Eurovision 2025, and I see the newly released song Portugal. Yeah, I didn't watch the national final. Okay, I said, okay, let's start the journey with this song, and it touched me. I felt the song. I loved the song. I love the the way she's trying to tell her story, even though you don't understand the language. You feel that there's a story behind. There's a memory. There's a heartbreak. There's whatever the story is. There's something behind it. You can felt the heaviness in the song. But then I arrived to work and I watched the national final performance. I'm like, there is a huge gap between two sounds. So all I can say is that if Portugal this year manages to create a moment like Ieta from Lithuania 2018 created on stage that night and finished top 10 in the grand final, they can have a chance for both qualification and doing well. But as you said, Stuart, it's just a matter of staging, and it's so important to be able to create a moment that everyone from every age, from every cultural background, that can feel and remember a memory from their past.
Exactly. Absolutely right. It's all about the staging. Nicholas, what do you think of Portugal, and what do Portugal have to do to get the qualification this year?
That's a very good question. I'll get back to that in a second, but I think I echo a lot of what's been said already. I think this is a really beautiful song. Out of the top five, I think I said this in Bite Side yesterday as well. Out of the top five in the Portuguese final this year, this was definitely my favorite. And I was actually, I had a really great final night that evening, and with Portugal as well. And it's just, I think it's very beautiful, and I think it could do well. But here's the issue, and here's where I think they might struggle, because I've looked a little bit into, okay, so who they're kind of up against in semifinal two, right? And in the second half, not only we have Portugal, but we also have Switzerland and we have Bulgaria with songs that, in my opinion at least, have kind of the same feeling as the song has. And what I think is that Bulgaria will bring their A game. I have no doubt about that. And I think Switzerland could be bringing something really beautiful and emotional as well. And I think in that fight, I unfortunately think that Portugal is going to be the weaker one. And I hope that's not the case, because in reality, I would like all three through. I think they're all great ballads. But I do worry, like looking at how Portugal has staged some of their entries in the past, I worry that that might be the thing that they'll lose out on this year.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to see. So Portugal have a tough semi-final. However, they haven't qualified last year. They did, of course, do rather well a few years prior. It's about time that we see Portugal back in the final. We'll have to wait and see. David, I think it's only fair, given that you're championing your own nation's song this year. How do you think Portugal are going to do? Whereabouts on the scoreboard? Do you think, first of all, do you think you'll qualify?
Yeah, qualify will be 9th, 10th, one of the last places for the qualification spots. And I got in a final, it's around the same place as FIP has been ended, around 20th, 25th. It's around that mark.
Okay, so just qualifying and near the bottom in the final is what you're predicting. Okay, that's good. Gemma, where do you think Portugal will finish this year? Do you think they're a qualifier?
Again, probably all down to staging, but it'll just get in and then it'll be in the bottom.
Yeah. Okay, Tristan.
Yeah, that's the same again. I'd say just get in, maybe, but it could be 11th. It could be, if he gets in, it'll be 10th, roughly. I think. Just looking at the others.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Jörna, where do you think Portugal will do?
I'm gonna say it will not qualify.
Non-qualifier. Okay. Whereabouts in the semi-final do you think it will be? Do you think it'll be quite low down or just missing out?
No, maybe like around 13th place.
About 13th place. Okay, so a couple of positions off.
No.
Oben.
Stuart, solely based on the national final the performance we saw, I'm gonna say that Portugal will end up 15th place in the semi-final, because thinking the second semi-final we thought it's gonna be easy piece of cake. Now the songs are out. That's the real bloodbath there. So I think they're gonna really struggle in the semi-final.
Okay, and then finally, Nicholas, round this one off.
An ideal situation, it would just get into the final, but I think we're looking at something like 12th place in the semi-final, maybe.
And I'm going to go 10th or 11th, so just on that cusp on the semi-final. And I do think David's probably on the money. If it does qualify to the final, it would be towards the bottom. But it'd be great to have another Portuguese song in the final nonetheless.